What happens when a hit that should set off panic ends up revealing exactly the identity this new Patriots team wants to carry? Patriots Nation, listen closely. In Foxborough, a star refused to give in to pain. An overlooked rookie is forcing his way into the picture. A possible trade is starting to look dangerously absurd, and the defense has decided to hunt the football with a different kind of violence. These are not camp notes. They are tests of ambition. Subscribe and hit like, because today we are separating real toughness from reckless decision-making. Jay Brown dislocated his thumb on a rep against Christian Gonzalez. Before anybody turns that into a disaster, look at his response. He got it put back in place, taped it up, pulled the glove on, and kept practicing. That was it. No easy out, no image management. Drake Maye's new #1 target took the contact and answered like a player on a team that plans to get tougher. Brown told Mike Garafolo and Brian Baldinger he tried to get locked in again as quickly as possible. His explanation was simple. Football brings hits and pain, so you keep moving. He had dislocated the same thumb at Ole Miss without missing the games that followed. This time, he is not expected to miss time in New England either. Even Monday, he was out only briefly. An injury is no trophy. The Patriots need to monitor the thumb, manage what needs attention, and get their receiver to the season healthy. But recklessness and competitiveness are very different. Brown was not hiding a serious limitation to play the hero. The account points to an issue handled on the spot, no expected absence, and an immediate return to work. That response spreads through an offense. And Gonzalez was on the other side. The matchup between the major offensive addition and one of the pillars of this secondary is already charging a physical price in camp. Good. Find out now how Brown responds when the coverage smothers him, the contact lands, and his rhythm gets broken. He stayed on the field. For Maye, that means more than a pretty catch against air. His WR1 is showing that he does not leave the fight when the rep gets dirty. Foxborough spent far too long searching for an offensive presence capable of changing the mood of the entire unit. Brown did not arrive simply to collect targets. He came to set a temperature. Monday delivered the first uncomfortable proof of that mindset. If his body allows it, he is staying in the fight. That example travels down the roster, because when the star treats practice like competition, the player without a guaranteed contract realizes he has to answer with even more hunger. One of those unknowns is doing exactly that. Tanner Arkin does not have the profile that wins the internet. He was not built to run like a receiver, pile up yards after the catch, or own highlight clips. He is just under 6'4", weighs 262 pounds, and ran the 40-yard dash in 4.88 seconds. Nothing there screams spectacle. But when the Patriots put the pads on and demand that somebody move a defender against his will, the undrafted rookie starts screaming something else: usefulness. Arkin has emerged as this camp's best blocking tight end. New England invested heavily at tight end, yet its most specialized role may belong to the player who arrived without a draft pick's protection. He uses his big hands to latch onto defenders, keeps his feet driving after first contact, and has enough core strength to handle edge defenders one-on-one. On the move, he can attack angles and execute blocks that free the edge. That work changes formations without asking for a headline. His college background explains why the Patriots saw value. Arkin went from Colorado State to Illinois and captained his team in both final seasons. His 29 starts in 38 games ranks second among Illinois tight ends. He caught only 30 passes for 226 yards and 6 touchdowns there after adding 15 receptions at Colorado State. The production makes his path to the NFL obvious. He does the work that lets everybody else show up on the screen. I will defend that kind of player all day. Weak offenses obsess over names. Smart offenses collect answers. A true blocking tight end helps the run, reinforces protection, sells play action, and keeps his presence from revealing the call. If Arkin checks in and the opponent automatically expects a run, his value will be limited. If Josh McDaniels creates a few passing threats from that same personnel package, the rookie becomes a much more irritating tactical piece. But he does not get a softer evaluation. Arkin caught only 45 passes across his entire college career for a reason. He lacks the foot speed to separate consistently, lacks the agility to create much after the catch, and does not have the length to become a dependable contested catch target. Even as a blocker, he still leans too heavily on raw strength and needs to improve his hand placement. Camp can celebrate potential. The season exposes limitations. He must sharpen the technique before experienced defenders turn his aggression against him. That is where the real competition lives. Arkin does not need to become Hunter Henry or fight the primary targets for receiving volume. He needs to become so trustworthy as a blocker that leaving him off the 53-man roster costs the offense an entire function. At 23, with captain experience and a visible specialty, he is making that decision uncomfortable for the coaching staff. That is meritocracy with teeth. How you entered does not matter. What matters is the solution the team loses when you leave. The effect reaches Maye through a path that gets almost no glamour. A firm blocker buys half a second. Half a second cleans up the read, keeps play action alive, or stops the run from dying before it begins. Brown is showing a willingness to absorb contact. Arkin is trying to keep the quarterback from taking contact he does not need. Together, they start drawing the outline of a more hostile offense. Only one absurd decision could weaken that progress, taking away a receiver who has already proven he has chemistry with Maye. But Patriots Nation, this is where things get really interesting. Trading Kayshon Boutte for a late pick would mean fearing the future while discarding an advantage that already exists on this roster right now. The debate grew after A.J. Brown arrived by trade, Romeo Doubs signed, and Boutte entered his rookie deal's final year. Reports say he requested a trade in April, and rumors suggest New England is listening. That explains the conversation. It does not make a weak return acceptable. Boutte produced 33 catches, 551 yards, and 6 touchdowns in 2025. More important, remember who was throwing the football. His connection with Drake Maye showed up all season, in big games, and again this summer. Boutte has ranked among camp's most consistent and explosive receivers. Doubs still has not settled into the offense as quickly as many expected. Why would the Patriots surrender proven chemistry before the new combination is ready? A strong offer would change the discussion. Meaningful draft capital would help the roster, while no extension creates a legitimate financial decision for New England. But rumors indicate no offer has gone beyond a fifth-round pick. A fifth-rounder? For a 24-year-old who improves the depth, has recent production, understands Maye, and is using a contract year as fuel, that is not selling high. That is giving away a working weapon to buy yourself a lottery ticket. I have no patience for the lazy argument that Brown and Doubs automatically make Boutte expendable. One NFL season can burn that logic to the ground. Injuries happen. Coverages change. Matchups demand different profiles. The offense needs players who can win when a defense removes the first option. Boutte does not need a WR1 label to convert a third down. His role could become even more dangerous if Brown pulls coverage and Doubs develops because the defensive pressure gets spread across the formation. There is a locker room message here too. Two major additions pushed Boutte down the imagined hierarchy, and he responded by producing. If the Patriots preach competition, they have to respect the result when it disrupts the order they expected. If Boutte keeps outperforming teammates and strengthening Maye, Mike Vrabel and the front office should keep the best group, not protect a plan they drew up in March. Competition becomes culture only when performance is allowed to change the decision. I am coming down hard because the risk demands it. For a late pick, Boutte stays. Make another team pay for its urgency. If nobody pays, use the receiver, lean into the chemistry, and let the season reveal how big this offense can become. New England spent years searching for weapons. It cannot start handing them out the moment its quarterback finally gets real help. And the same meritocracy protecting Boutte is setting the other side of the ball on fire. Del Pettis picked off a deep ball from Maye on Saturday, ran to the end zone, and punted the football over the fence. Some will call the celebration excessive. I see a secondary tired of coming close. It was only the defense's second interception in 7 sessions, its first since day 2. Pettis was not celebrating an imaginary score. He released a group tired of accepting almost takeaways. Kevin Byard sparked that change. Before competitive periods, he gathered the defensive backs and demanded takeaways. His message erased excuses. It was their secondary. Coaches could not make the play for them. Pettis trusted the scheme and his technique, occupied the right spot, and got rewarded against a quarterback who, as Pettis acknowledged, rarely makes bad decisions. An interception like that matters for the play itself and the mindset it installs. Byard knows how to turn that obsession into production. He enters year 11 coming off a first-team All-Pro selection after leading the league with 7 interceptions and pushing his career total to 36. Pettis is not absorbing some slogan about hunting the football. He is learning the process. Question how every call, alignment, and technique can place him in the path of the pass. That turns desire into a science of positioning. Monday's indoor practice raised the level of trash talk between offense and defense. Brown made a catch with Gonzalez draped over him and answered verbally. The red zone periods, one-on-ones, and teamwork all raised the temperature. Perfect. I do not want an offense shielded from the defense or a secondary satisfied with merely contesting throws. I want Brown testing Gonzalez, Gonzalez demanding more from Brown, and Byard teaching the young defensive backs to finish plays with possession. Foxborough, your turn below. Which player in this secondary will grow the most next to Byard throughout this coming season? My bet is that his impact shows up in the young players before it shows up in the veterans' own statistics. Real leadership multiplies winning habits throughout an entire room. Pettis punting that ball over the fence may look like the loudest moment, But the dangerous part for opposing offenses happened quietly. A young defender started thinking about football the way the man who led the NFL in interceptions thinks about it. A star pulls his glove back on. A rookie creates daylight by moving bodies. A receiver under threat forces the front office to rethink the math. A veteran teaches the secondary to hunt. That is the Patriots team I defend. Physical, competitive, and unwilling to reward comfort. Responsibility follows. Keep Brown healthy, recognize Arkin, refuse pocket change for Boutte, and turn defensive aggression into possessions. Patriots Nation, tell me what you think. Which of these 4 changes could shape the season most? Pick one, subscribe to Patriots Club Fans, and hit like if you believe Foxborough is getting its identity back.